All right, we are live. Just making sure all my tech is working. Beautiful. So we're simulcasting tonight. We're live on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Numo, and Kick. We've got probably a pretty decent session going tonight, mostly because of action in the crypto markets. Let's go ahead and get straight to it. So Bitcoin's currently trading over 116. We're going to go up to the daily and take a look at the charts just to give you an idea of what's going on here. And we did break a key level on the 4-hour and the 2-hour early. Right now, it's in the middle of a sell order block that crested about 117,500. That's 2,000 points higher than where it currently is. So Bitcoin could go up 3,400 points before it has its next real test in the market. We go down to the 4-hour, we see that we've already cleared 50% of the current order block. If it clears this at 117,300, it's got a clear shot at 120 plus. You see the same thing on the 2-hour? And on the 1-hour, we're waiting for confirmation of an uptrend. We do have a confirmed uptrend on all of the lower time frames, the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 15 minute, and the 30 minute. So we'll be going back and forth between Bitcoin and some other assets tonight, just based off of what we're trading. We go off of a 15-minute pacing. So essentially, TradingView is going to look at the markets across multiple assets for the 328 assets that we trade every 15 minutes and spit out trade ideas. Then we go to each trade idea and determine whether or not it's a buy or sell for us. And we do determine it's a buy or sell. I'll call out the parameters and drop those in the chat, and we'll go from there. Now, for those of you that are on YouTube, you'll already have the stuff on the chat. If you guys are watching on Twitch, Kick, or Nemu, you will see the postings there. If you're on Instagram, I actually have to post the calls in the Instagram chat for you to be able to see those. So I'll do that. So I have a separate screen for Instagram up right now for that purpose. So we don't have any calls for the 2 o'clock ticker. We've got futures calls possibly at 2:10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then we have our next round of calls for the market proper at 2:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. Let's go ahead and get over the news and check and see if we have anything that's interesting. As always, we're going to start at Forex Factory. We've got comments by the governor of the Royal Bank of Australia at 3:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. That may move stuff a little bit. The U.S. government is still closed down, so we're not getting a lot of news out of the United States dollar in real time. It's about a 1 to 2 week delay before we hear anything. It just doesn't look like a busy day in terms of news. We may get some traction on the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar because of this speech, I guess, by Governor Bullock. But other than that, I wouldn't expect much action on it. All right, we're looking at positive futures on the US 30, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. Looking at negative futures on gold, and I think all precious metals, with the exception of platinum, are down for the day. So that's good for us because we're currently in sales on gold versus the US dollar, the euro, and the Australian dollar. And we're also in a sell on GC1 and MGC1 gold and micro gold for futures. What's going on there? But positive future on the UK 100 and the German 30. Got negative futures on the Euro 50 and the French 40. Got really positive news on the Japanese Nikkei 225, the Hong Kong 50, and the Asia 200. And we've got positive futures on all the major cryptocurrencies: Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum, and Solana. So hopefully we get some retracement tonight, get into some buys. That would be ideal for us at the moment. So while we're at it, let's take a look at indices and see what that looks like. Turn off this. It looks unlikely we're going to get any type of retracement enough to get into a buy on US 30. Same thing with UK 100, S&P 500, and NASDAQ 100. Same thing with Japanese Nikkei. German 30s in consolidations. That's not going to do us much good. Same thing with the France 40. We did hit take profit on our trade for Euro 50, so I'm getting ready to call that out. Congratulations for those that took it. We took that on Thursday during the London session, and we hit for 5,209 pips. So we might get another chance on Euro 50 tonight. Just depends on whether or not we get some retracement. But let's go ahead and get this called out. Always nice to start off with a win. $1,209 pips. All right, so I need to grab this. There we go. So we've got a take profit smashed. Would you like many viewers? Don't know what that means, bro. Take profit smashed. All right, so we got a take profit smashed. That's for everyone on Twitch. From audience on Kicked. And from our audience on YouTube. Not bad. Didn't take long either. Go ahead and get this recorded. That's a win 922 for the year. It also puts us over 3.7 million pips. So here's our performance as of right now. We're 922 wins versus 693 losses since February 3rd. Win percentage of 57.09%. Currently at 3,700,055 pips for the year, with the win on Euro 50. Let's take a look at commodities. Palladium and platinum are up for the day. Silver and gold are down. We're in sales on gold. Australian dollar is the closest to profit for 11,261 pips. Not quite there. We're about 50% of the way on gold versus euro, and that's for 8,030 pips. And we're about 33% of the way on gold versus the United States dollar for 8,404 pips. We also have two futures calls on gold. You've got GC1 about 30% of the way for 1,302 ticks. We're also a micro gold 1, also about 30% of the way there for 1,264 ticks. So we were able to get 5 calls off of gold just because of market sentiment. So let's get back to the 1 hour on Bitcoin. We'll be watching that closely. So I think we're going to get some action on cryptocurrency tonight. Currently above the Asian range, so we could get some retracement back into the Asian range instead of a breakout. But right now, we need more time to see what Bitcoin is going to do. What's happening, Faceless? I am musing about going ahead and paying for the premium subscription on Twitter/X, so I can go ahead and add that to the streaming queue. You really can't stream on actually you can't stream on X at all unless you're at least a premium member there. So it's like I think $8 per month. Go ahead and splurge and just do it. All right, we're coming up on less than 1 minute left to 2:15. We'll see what we have here in a moment. Oh, we're also close to profit on United States dollar versus Israeli shekel. It's an exotic. We took that on Tuesday of last week, right after the New York session. All right, here we go. It's going to take about 3 minutes for TradingView to go through all the assets that we trade, determine whether or not we have any calls for 2:15 a.m. On the off chance that we don't get anything by 2:18, then we know we have some futures calls that may be coming 10 minutes after the bell. So that means at 2:25, we could get possible futures calls. And then at 2:30, we get another crack at getting into the market on a buy or sell. We have lost about 200 points on Bitcoin since the start of the London session. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not that's a true reversal candle that's forming this hour. Not enough time has passed to see just yet. Um, doesn't look like we'll get anything for 2:15 in the morning. Next ticker's at 2:25 a.m. Central Standard Time for the futures markets, then 2:30 a.m. Central Standard Time for the market proper. Also note at 3 a.m. Central Standard Time, we have the 4-hour candle for the crypto market. We'll be going to 4 a.m. for the London session today. I won't be doing a New York session today. I normally do those 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Got to help my oldest sister move, so I'll be doing that most of the morning, so I'll miss trading. But we'll resume the New York session starting on Tuesday. And yes, if you're on YouTube and you had on the notification for the New York session for today, uh, it won't go off because I had erased the session altogether. So it no longer exists on my YouTube page. Fortunately for me, when I kind of built this stuff out, I'm using StreamYard to multi-stream. So I don't have to schedule at each individual place that I'm streaming to. When I built the studio inside of StreamYard, it creates the session for YouTube. And then everything else, I just go live when I go live. Instagram has an extra step, but it's not all that difficult to do. I did read an article about 2 hours ago, something along the lines that the US Fed is leaning towards doing another interest rate cut. Um, if they do so, of course, they'd be doing it blind because they don't have any information coming from the US federal government. But will have pretty notable effects on the trading market, at least for anything against the United States dollar. The dollar will probably rally, which means you're going to get a sell off of things. So if it's regular Forex currency and it's XXX USD versus like Australian versus US dollar, it's probably going to sell off in the short term and then rally going the other direction. Um, so we're probably going to see a lot of movement in gold, silver, platinum, palladium, copper, some other futures like corn and wheat, things like that. Uh, we may see some movement in U.S. oil as a result of the Fed cutting interest rates, and we'll certainly see a major bump for cryptocurrency. The dollar grows in strength, so do U.S. dollar derivatives like Treasury bonds and Treasury bills, which form the basis of most stable coins. So in the short term, we get a retracement in cryptocurrency, followed by another leg up. If the Fed lowers interest rates, if they decide to do nothing, we may end up with a completely different scenario altogether. Mostly because I think part of this run on Bitcoin is bulls pricing in the notion that the Fed will lower interest rates. So if they don't, it's going to crash a little. If I had to venture to guess, somewhere in the 104 to 106,000 range from current price, 9 to 10,000 point drop. But still bodes well for us because we do have a few shorts. All right, 2:24 a.m., about 5.5 minutes left to the top of the hour. We get futures calls possibly in about 20 seconds. About 3 minutes left to go to the half of the hour. No futures calls for 2:25 a.m. Just for reference, futures calls or future signals come on a 10-minute delay from the rest of the market. The feeds for futures aren't done in live time. At least for retail traders, it isn't. About a minute and a half left. Remember, I just passed 2:30. Got about another 2 minutes before we find out if we get any new calls. Do have an acceleration of the 1 hour candle on Bitcoin. Continue to sell off price. Now down almost 400 points since the start of the London session. All right, so nothing for 2:30 in the morning. Next ticker's at 2:40 a.m. Central Standard Time for the futures market. 2:45 a.m. Central Standard Time for the market proper. Pretty doggone quiet to start. Okay, let's see. 47, 45 passed up. All right. 6:50 a.m. Central Standard Time. And the futures calls. Still more waiting. Looks like Bitcoin is down. Wow, about 800 points since the start of the session. Ding, 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 ding. We've got a buy on FET versus Tether, which is not a buy. That is a sell on FET versus Tether. I think we're already in FET, though. We are. What did I want to take it again? We'll wait on it and see what that's going to look like. We'll check on FET versus Tether in another 15 minutes. See if we're going to take up a secondary position in FET versus Tether. All right, about 1 more minute left to figure out if we get anything else for the market proper. It is 3 a.m. Central Standard Time, so this is the 4-hour candle for the crypto market. The crypto day starts at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and goes to 7 p.m. the next day. So doesn't appear we have any other calls coming out of crypto right now. All right, next ticker is going to be at 3:10 a.m. Central Standard Time for futures calls, 3:15 a.m. for the market profit. It's now 3:03 a.m. Central Standard Time. Let's check around for other assets and see what's going on real quick. Gold is still down, so that's good for ourselves. So 1 hour call on Fed. So that's maybe going to form until 4 a.m. Indices. Still no movement on indices. We're in Australian 200 on the buy, but we're going to 91.59. Quite a ways off from take profit. No big moves in currency. We won on Zcash earlier today for like 11,584 pips, I think it was. And it's up 7% for today. But other than Zcash and Dia, there's no real outliers for the crypto market. Things are mixed. Let's go and take a look at market cap movement. So this is market cap movement for the last hour in crypto. That's for the top 100. So in the last hour, everything is down. The day, most everything is up. It looks like for the top 100, every single cryptocurrency is up in market cap. So money is flowing into the crypto market right now. Even all the way up to the top 1,000. Bitcoin dominance is positive for the day. I think we're going to end up getting some retracement in altcoins. If Bitcoin dominance rallies for the day and Ethereum versus Bitcoin starts to sell off, means people are not purchasing Ethereum for gas for altcoins. So we may see a downturn in the market as Bitcoin starts to retrace in price. And at one point, Bitcoin was up 1,600 points. It's up just under 1,000 right now. So we'll see. All right, it's 3:10 a.m. No immediate calls from the futures market. We'll know for certain by 3:13 a.m. We're kind of about 3:15. It's 15 minutes after the hour. We might get more calls by ourselves in the market proper. That's also when you start getting comments by Governor Bullock for the Royal Bank of Australia, which is important for us because we have a sell on gold versus the Australian dollar. And hopefully his comments cause some volatility. We can go ahead and get that trade win. It may also have a smaller effect on gold versus euro and gold versus dollar, depending on what he says. All right, so we're coming up on 3:15 in about 20 seconds. Let's see what we get. No immediate calls. I can already see the volatility in gold. As people start reacting in real time to comments by the governor of the World Bank of Australia. Whew. Whatever he is saying seems to be strengthening the Australian dollar. So let's take a look at currency strength. And right now, the Australian dollar is the strongest currency in the world right now. So whatever he is doing is pushing Australian dollar higher. Which is good for us because the Australian dollar is strong. That means it's gaining strength versus gold, which should cause this to sell off. My concern is if it's that high right now, it's going to drop eventually, in which case we're going to lose some of the progress from today, which is going to suck. So now it looks like gold versus Australian dollar is about the same as it was when we started getting comments from Governor Bullock. So maybe it's $1 should do about nothing. Bitcoin basically has not moved at all since the top of the hour. It's completely flat. Conveniently enough, it's sitting right above the top of the Asian range. So we may not see any move on Bitcoin until 4 a.m. But if I had to venture to guess, this rally up is going to continue. You got 3 order blocks of buys below current price. You got nothing above current price, at least until about 117,400, which is another 1,900 points higher than what price currently is. Which means Bitcoin could get to 1,700, 500 before we see some type of resistance. Never breaks out of that order block on the higher time frames. We're heading to 120,100. Still nothing. We're still up on Australian versus Canadian dollar. About 50% of the way to profit on XMR. Well, we are getting acceleration on gold. So we might get the win on Australian dollar versus gold on the live tonight if its pace continues to sell off like this. I don't think we have the rest of them, but we have an outside chance on gold versus Australian dollar. We're going for 11,261 pips on this. And it just broke the bottom of the Asian range, so it's kind of in free fall right now. We just need a little teensy bit more of a push. Bitcoin down another 100 points. Mm, 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 mm. Bitcoin's down another 100 points. I don't think we're going to get what we're looking for. It's looking more and more likely that we're not going to get any more calls tonight. All right, about a minute left to go to the middle of the hour, 3:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. See if we get another crack of getting into the market. We did have a 1 hour call on Fed earlier. It did not mark yet. And we've got a sell on ZK. We've got a sell on Palladium versus US dollar. So ZK hasn't marked yet. We're probably going to get a retracement up in price and then get a better entry for the sell on ZK versus Tether. Same thing on Palladium. I expect that price to go up a little bit and then give us an entry. So we'll wait on it. Looks like Australian dollars not want us to be great right now. All right, next up are possible futures calls at 3:40 a.m. and then other calls on the market possibly at 3:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you haven't already done so, I would love your support. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Nemu, or Kick, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on those notifications to keep abreast of when I do go live in the market. I am the Pit Messiah, your host of the Quiet Storm live trading session for London for October the 27th, 2025. The Quiet Storm live trading sessions are held every weekday from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Central Standard Time for London, and from 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for New York. There will not be a New York session for today, because I've already promised to help my older sister move. But we will be doing New York for every other weekday this week, Tuesday through Friday. Right. Got a little bit of a meaty push on gold versus Australian dollar. Maybe, just maybe, we get our push enough to get take profit tonight. Right now, we're 7 points away. Come on. I know gold is a precious metal, so as a commodity, it's more heavily weighted than regular Forex pairs, about 10 times weighted. So basically, doing 0.01 on gold is like doing 0.10 on a Forex currency. We're now down to 6 points to take profit on gold versus Australian dollar. That is one crazy hourly candle. I like it. on. Looks like Bitcoin is stalling its fall, which is decent for us. All right, that's 61.97, so 4 points away from take profit. Three points away. Come on and give it to us. Let's go. It's gonna happen, but I want it to happen on the live. Come on. Anyway, we got about 45 seconds to the next ticker at 3:45 a.m. That might be enough to push it across the finish line. A new candle. All right, it's not within 2 points. All right, it's now 3:45 a.m. No immediate calls from the market. You don't get anything by 3:48. We have two last tickers. One at 3:55 a.m. Central Standard Time, and the last one at 4 a.m., which is the 4-hour candle for the market proper. We're almost there to take profit. And voila, we have a win on gold versus Australian dollar for 11,261 pips. So 923. That's win number 923 for the year. What's that? 11,261. Puts us at 3,711,316 pips for the year. Let me grab that. Another take profit smashed. Here's your announcement for Twitch. Take profit smashed on a gold versus Australian dollar for 11,261 pips. Here's the announcement on Kick. And here's the announcement on YouTube. We'll go ahead and clear this off the queue. Next one up should be either gold versus euro or gold versus the United States dollar. Likely gold versus euro is going to be the next one up. It's just going to take a while to get there. We're going for 8,030 pips on that call. Let's take a look at the currency strength to see where euro is. Euro's pretty weak right now. It's going to have to get stronger for us to get a fall in price. So it's unlikely we get the call on gold versus euro, gold versus dollar right now until these currencies improve in strength. Which also means that micro gold and gold, which are the two futures we're in, probably haven't moved much either. Nope. And nope. Now we did have close to tape. Oh, we got another one. We have take profit of United States dollar to Israeli shekels for 240 pips. And that's going to be win 924 for the year. That's for 240 pips. And that's going to bring us to 3,711,556 pips for the year. And here's your call for Twitch. Take profit smashed on United States dollar versus Israeli shekel. This is an exotic currency. Here's the call for kick. And here's the call for YouTube. Don't think we're terribly close on anything else that I can remember off the top of my head. I know we're not close on CZK or Huff or Norwegian Crown or Polish Nadi. So we're getting closer and closer on gold versus the United States dollar and gold versus euro. Perhaps I was wrong here. There's something on GBP NOK. Hit stop loss in the 30-minute. All right, we finally have the call on palladium. It's taken off on us though, so we're not going to go ahead and take that one. ZK hasn't formed yet. Fed hasn't formed yet. We'll go back and take a look at gold versus euro, which seems to be the next one up. See if we can get this run. Got 5 minutes left to 4 a.m., so we may not get it before the live is over, but we'll see. It's definitely going to happen before the New York session. I'd be highly surprised. The only thing I could think of is a possible reversal on the 4-hour at 4 a.m. But this is a pretty substantial drop, and it's fast. See what I mean? Let's go. Gold is getting hammered, and we might win us 2 more trades. Let's go. Euro's definitely happening before the dollar. We're 3 points away from take profit. Two points away. I thought we may have had a chance when it made that sudden drop of like 11 points, but it's not cooperating right now. But it is just a matter of time. At any rate, 40 seconds to the top of the hour. We'll see what we get in the market anyway. Again, we won't be doing a New York session live today from 7:30 a.m. till 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I'll send you guys the next time for London tomorrow at 2 a.m. Again, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on those likes to keep abreast of when I do go live in the market. We do this every weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. for London, and from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. for New York. So now, at the top of the hour, we're going to wait about 3 minutes after the hour to see if we get any calls. And it looks like we have a sell and on vet and on render. So let's take a look at the calls we already have. Yeah, we're not going to recall fit for a small move like that. We do have ZK though. So it's going to be a sell for us to 31.28. What just happened? All right, so this is ZK USDD. What is this? 31.28 that we're going to? Yeah. Let's go ahead and get this call out. One sec while I get the parameters for this. All right, so this is ZK versus Tether. Say 30-minute confirmation with a 3.72 risk. Entry at 33.92. Stop at 34.63. And take profit at 31.28. All right. Oddly enough, the first signal of the night. So we've got ZK versus Tether, 30-minute confirmation, market execution, sell. Entry price is going to be 0.03392. Stop loss is 0.03463 for 71 pips. Take profit is 0.03128 for 264 pips, and a risk to reward ratio of 3.72. So that's going to be ZK versus Tether. Next up is going to be Res versus Tether. That's on the 1 hour though. So that's not going to show up yet. We're already in that. We're not going to recall that. And render has not marked yet. So we'll know that before we get to the London session, the New York session. So that may retrace and then give us a re-entry. So that's it for us for the evening. I'll see you guys at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. Again, no New York session for today. Cheers.